After discovering the location of the final fragment of the Shi Wu wings in the Purple Moon Holy Land, Luo Feng realized he could not confront them directly and instead chose a cautious approach. Traveling through the inner regions of the universe boat using the boat of mausoleum while remaining hidden and planning to ambush isolated enemies with the star tower. However, even after nearly 900 years of searching, he did not encounter a single member of the Purple Moon Holy Land, as they had all become extremely cautious and remained in hiding. During this long journey, Luo Feng passed through many dangerous regions and actively searched for treasure birthplaces, successfully obtaining several ordinary pinnacle true treasures, 2 top-tier true treasures, and 1 senior true treasure, while the boat of mausoleum enabled him to safely traverse areas that even supreme true treasures could not withstand, greatly increasing his efficiency and survivability. Eventually, Luo Feng arrived at a secret chamber connected to a cyan token and entered an ancient structure, where he discovered 9 enormous fireballs orbiting a floating continent, by using the Shi Wu wings. He took control of the surrounding space and received the inheritance of Jia Fanzi, a powerful expert who had cultivated the water and fire origins technique over 3 reincarnation eras. Jia Fanzi believed that water and fire were fundamental to the origin of life and developed an entirely new cultivation system based on this concept, reaching the 10th tier top-level combat power, but ultimately failing to transcend reincarnation. Before his death, he left behind his complete inheritance along with all his treasures for future successors. Beneath the floating continent, Luo Feng obtained a pinnacle palace true treasure that stored Jia Fanzi's vast wealth, including 32 pinnacle palace and domain true treasures, 91 ordinary pinnacle true treasures, more than 100 additional true treasures of various levels, and an enormous amount of cultivation and recovery resources, although there were no supreme true treasures. The total value far exceeded anything Luo Feng had previously acquired and even surpassed the total wealth of the human race. Largely because Jia Fanzi had existed independently across multiple reincarnation eras, Luo Feng was extremely satisfied with this gain, as these resources would allow him to repair the final damaged portion of his Shi Wu wings. After studying the inheritance, Luo Feng realized that the water and fire origin system was incredibly profound and could eventually allow a cultivator to form a miniature universe during combat to suppress and trap enemies. But he ultimately decided not to follow Jia Fanzi's path and instead continued his own cultivation route, focusing on comprehending all 10 fundamental laws to achieve perfect balance and greater long-term potential. He then shared the inheritance and most of the treasures with the human race, keeping only a portion for his personal use. Over the following 600,000 years, Luo Feng continued cultivating while exploring the 3 lands of extremist tilted peak sector, universe boat, and flowing level mountain, carefully avoiding the most dangerous core regions while remaining active in the outer areas. And he returned once to deliver treasures to his race. Throughout this time, his reputation spread widely as he frequently appeared at treasure birthplaces and seized opportunities with remarkable efficiency. Later, in Flowing Level Mountain, Luo Feng encountered 3 universe masters waiting for a treasure to emerge, including Yu Lan Master from the Purple Moon Holy Land. Upon seeing Luo Feng, Yu Lan Master immediately attempted to flee, but Luo Feng used the Star Tower to suppress and capture him with ease, adding him to several other universe masters from the Purple Moon Holy Land whom he had already captured in previous encounters. After securing the treasure, Luo Feng left the area and entered the internal space of the Star Tower, where all captured masters were imprisoned. Rather than killing them, he intended to use them as bargaining chips to exchange for the final pair of Shi Wu wings. But the Purple Moon ancestor showed complete indifference and refused any negotiation, demonstrating no concern for the lives of the captured masters. From these prisoners, Luo Feng confirmed that no one within the Purple Moon Holy Land would dare disobey the ancestor. And he also learned that the Shi Wu wings were far from ordinary true treasures, but instead components of an extremely powerful and exceptional treasure originating from an ancient civilization. Luo Feng later reflected on how difficult it would be to obtain the last pair of Shi Wu wings. According to the captured masters, when Luo Feng previously sensed the wings outside Purple Moon Holy Land, a universe knight inside the Holy Land had also sensed his own wings reacting. The sensing range was enormous, possibly around 100 million light years. Realizing the treasure's extraordinary nature, The knight reported it to his teacher, Feng Hao Master, who investigated throughout the Holy Land but found no matching wing component among the universe masters. Purple Moon Ancestor gradually pieced together the truth through several clues. He realized Luo Feng had deliberately targeted Peixing Master, who possessed 2 pairs of wings, shortly after killing Great Thunderstar Tower. The timing of the wing sensation matched Luo Feng's departure from Tilted Peak Sector. Purple Moon Holy Land had also noticed some ordinary true treasures being secretly traded into Universe Ocean, possibly through the Han Alliance. Furthermore, Luo Feng had already been seen possessing multiple wing pairs in the past. Combining all these details, Purple Moon Ancestor concluded that Luo Feng was desperately seeking the final pair of Shi Wu wings. Purple Moon Holy Land then directly informed Luo Feng through an avatar of one captured Universe Master that the final pair of wings would remain in Purple Moon Holy Land forever and that Luo Feng would never obtain them. Although upset, Luo Feng understood that traces left behind by both himself and the Han Alliance had exposed his intentions. He therefore changed his approach and openly began capturing more Universe Masters from Purple Moon Holy Land to pressure them. His true goal was not only the wings, but also to slowly damage the unity and morale within Purple Moon Holy Land. Since he had not even fully comprehended the 3rd-level engravings of Shi Wu wings, he was not in a hurry and prepared for a prolonged conflict. Over time, Luo Feng continued traveling through the 3 lands of Extremis. After 6 Universe Masters were captured, most Universe Masters from Purple Moon Holy Land retreated back into the Holy Land, though some stubborn ones remained outside, unafraid of death and even excited by Luo Feng's pressure. Meanwhile, in a remote area of Universe Ocean, an enormous humanoid object larger than a miniature universe traveled toward the original universe at a speed millions of times faster than light. The journey lasted for millions of years. During this period, Luo Feng spent over 8 million years cultivating within the inheritance space while continuing his exploration of Universe Boat. For Luo Feng, who had lived less than 200,000 years naturally, these 8 million years became the most important cultivation period of his life. At the same time, Demon Beast Ancestor was casually traveling toward Flowing Level Mountain, since he opposed both the Demon Race Ancestors and Space Beast Ancestor. He was pleased that humanity currently held a slight advantage in the war. Suddenly, an enormous streak of light flashed past him at terrifying speed. The resulting shock waves alone hurled Demon Beast Ancestor tens of billions of kilometers away and injured him severely, causing him to vomit blood despite being a Universe Supreme Master. Demon Beast Ancestor was horrified. He realized that if the gigantic humanoid object had directly collided with him, he would have died instantly. However, after recovering from the shock, he became excited, believing such a terrifying phenomenon must contain an unimaginable opportunity, far beyond supreme true treasures. He hoped it might grant him inheritance, treasures, or power great enough to suppress the Demon Race Ancestors and Space Beast Alliance, allowing him to become the sole true ancestor of all demon beasts. Driven by greed and ambition, Demon Beast Ancestor rapidly teleported several times and finally approached the gigantic flying object. Compared to it, he looked as insignificant as an earthworm facing a star. Demon Beast Ancestor discovered a massive object moving through Universe Ocean at an unbelievable speed. While resisting the shockwaves around it, he observed that the object appeared to be a gigantic humanoid life form lying flat on the ground. With a body over 100 million light-years tall, the object was even larger than a miniature universe or the Universe Boat. Demon Beast Ancestor could not believe that any living being could possess such size and speed. Since even Universe Supreme Masters could only expand their godly bodies to about 1 light-year and would consume enormous divine power in the process. The object also moved at a speed comparable to uninterrupted teleportation, something impossible for ordinary Supreme Masters to sustain. Unable to accept that such a terrifying life form could exist, Demon Beast Ancestor concluded that it was probably a strange object similar to the Universe Boat, except shaped like a humanoid. Realizing this might be another treasure comparable to the Universe Boat, he became determined to pursue it before anyone else discovered it. Using repeated long-distance teleportation, Demon Beast Ancestor followed the object and attempted to alter its course. He activated his domain-type True Treasure and condensed much of the domain into a huge fuzzy tail that lashed against the object from the side. However, The attack shattered instantly without noticeably affecting the object's direction. Believing the lack of effect was due to the object's enormous size and stability, he continued bombarding it repeatedly. For over 100 years, Demon Beast Ancestor continuously attacked the object hundreds of times every day. Eventually, he realized his attacks did have a tiny effect on its course, though the change was so slight that even he could barely detect it. Despite this, he remained determined to continue, believing he could redirect it into a dangerous land before any other great being found it. He reasoned that because Universe Ocean was vast and most great beings relied on natural wormholes for travel, the chance of others discovering the object was low. He decided to steer it toward a dangerous region called Swirling Water River, hoping the dangerous land could stop or slow it down. After more than 6,000 years of constant bombardment, Demon Beast Ancestor finally managed to alter the object's trajectory enough that it would collide with Swirling Water River. He arrived there in advance and waited. Swirling Water River was an enormous rotating river with 12 giant radial arms and countless islands, stretching across 6 million light years. Soon, the gigantic humanoid object arrived at terrifying speed and crashed directly into Swirling Water River. The 12 radial arms shattered instantly. Enormous amounts of water exploded outward into Universe Ocean, and the countless islands within the river were destroyed like fragile eggs. Inside the river, a Universe Master exploring the area within a top-tier palace true treasure felt a terrifying tremor but could not react in time. The massive object passed through instantly, destroying the palace true treasure and annihilating the Universe Master completely. The object continued moving at the same terrifying speed without stopping. Swirling Water River was reduced to fragments, and water scattered throughout Universe Ocean while the object disappeared beyond Demon Beast Ancestor's sight. Demon Beast Ancestor stood there in shock, realizing that even 10 or 100 swirling water rivers would not have been enough to stop it. Later, within the Divine Eye Clan's first true master's miniature universe, another Universe Master reported the destruction of his top-tier palace true treasure inside Swirling Water River. Hearing that such a treasure had been shattered instantly, First True Master realized that something extraordinary and terrifying had occurred within Universe Ocean. Swirling Water River was considered a second-tier dangerous place, and even top-tier palace true treasures could usually survive there if handled carefully. However, news spread that a palace true treasure had been instantly annihilated and Universe Masters instantly killed, which should have been impossible for Swirling Water River alone. The first true master personally went to investigate and, after 3 days, arrived to find the entire Swirling Water River destroyed. All the islands had vanished, and only endless water remained. He realized the place had been struck head-on by an unimaginable force powerful enough to blast apart the entire dangerous region. Excited, the first true master believed this unknown existence might be the Divine Eye Clan's only chance to transcend reincarnation. He activated a giant flesh and blood divine eye behind him and used his techniques to investigate the traces left behind. Although he could not reverse time and space to fully observe the object, he managed to determine the direction it had traveled and immediately began pursuing it. A few days later, the first true master finally sensed the object clearly enough to determine that it was a humanoid creature lying prone while flying through Universe Ocean. It was approximately 160 million light-years tall and traveling at 120 million times the speed of light. Only the first true master, focusing all his power through his divine eye, could perceive these details. At the same time, Demon Beast Ancestor had also discovered the object. He argued with the first true master over ownership of the opportunity and threatened to spread the news to all of Universe Ocean if the Divine Eye Clan summoned additional true masters. Reluctantly, the first true master agreed that the two of them would keep the opportunity to themselves. The two supreme beings attempted to stop or redirect the giant object, but they did not dare approach it directly. The shock waves surrounding it alone were enough to injure them, and getting closer might kill them outright. They could only follow behind it helplessly. Every attempt to stop it or change its direction failed completely. Over 3,000 years passed, and 5 additional powers joined the pursuit. Altogether, 18 great beings followed the giant object, but none could affect it. During this time, the object destroyed 3 dangerous regions without slowing down at all. The first true master concluded that only 2 things in existence might stop it: the original universe itself or one of the 3 lands of Extremis, Universe Boat. tilted peak sector, or flowing level mountain. Everyone present understood that if the object entered one of those regions, all powers in universe ocean would become involved. However, they also realized they lacked the power to redirect it alone and would eventually have to make the information public. Rampaging Devil God warned that if the object continued toward the original universe, it might destroy miniature universes along the way. Since it could obliterate Swirling Water River, it could likely destroy miniature universes as well by crushing their origins. Soon, the entire universe ocean learned of the mysterious humanoid object. Inside Universe Boat, Luo Feng received the news from Primal Chaos City leader. He was told that a humanoid giant larger than Universe Boat itself was traveling at 20 million times the speed of light. Luo Feng initially thought the story was absurd because the speed limit in Universe Ocean was normally 100 times light speed, while Universe Supreme Masters could only reach around 1 million times light speed. Primal Chaos City leader assured him the information had been confirmed by many Universe Supreme Masters and ordered him to leave Universe Boat immediately to rendezvous with the Human Alliance forces. Luo Feng turned his boat of mausoleum around and spent over 200 years leaving Universe Boat at maximum speed. During those 200 years, the coordinates of the giant object constantly changed as all major powers pursued it. Luo Feng eventually caught up with the Han Alliance strike force, where more than 180 Universe Masters had gathered under Primal Chaos City leader. Forces from the United Alliance had also arrived, and all sides temporarily suspended their conflicts because of the unprecedented situation. Primal Chaos City leader informed Luo Feng that 68 Universe Supreme Masters and over 3.200 Universe Masters from the powers of Universe Ocean and the two Holy Lands had assembled there. Luo Feng was astonished by the scale of the gathering. Soon, the assembled experts sensed terrifying shock waves approaching before the object itself became visible. Then the gigantic humanoid figure swept past them like a streak of light. Every great being present, including Luo Feng, felt as insignificant as insects beneath a mountain while staring at the towering creature. Luo Feng could only widen his eyes in shock at the overwhelming sight. Luo Feng was extremely excited after discovering the gigantic human-shaped object. He could not determine whether it was a dead being, a sleeping life form, or a humanoid machine-type valuable from the ancient civilization. Since Universe Boat itself was a machine-type valuable, he considered the possibility that the giant figure might also be one. He became even more excited when he thought it could actually be an ancient civilization great being. Thousands of great beings from Universe Ocean teleported simultaneously and positioned themselves ahead of the giant object while staying away from its direct path. Under the orders of the Universe Supreme Masters, they prepared to attack again. Because light speed in Universe Ocean was 100 times faster than in the original universe, they could not rely on normal sight. Instead, they used vibration waves and their control over time and space to determine the object's shape and speed. The giant object moved so quickly that it could only be sensed briefly before it passed by, creating terrifying shock waves capable of severely injuring Universe Supreme Masters. Following the command to attack, thousands of great beings, including Luo Feng, launched combined attacks from the side. Their attacks were powerful enough to kill any Universe Supreme Master and traveled at over 100 times light speed before eventually striking the giant object. The humanoid object was 160 million light-years tall, with feet 30 million light-years long, and moved at 120 million times the speed of light. Despite its enormous size, it moved too fast for Luo Feng to clearly perceive. The group repeatedly teleported 1.000 light-years at a time to keep up with it and continuously attacked it to alter its direction. Luo Feng and the others stayed beside the giant object for 3.200 years. The powers of Universe Ocean had already decided to redirect the object toward Universe Boat because it required the smallest directional adjustment among the three lands of Extremis. Even so, they needed to alter its trajectory by 15 degrees. The first 7 powers that discovered the object realized they could not accomplish this alone, which was why First True Master and Demon Beast Ancestor spread the news. After more than 3.000 years of coordinated attacks, the great beings finally confirmed that the giant object's direction was correct and that it would collide with Universe Boat in approximately 30.000 years. Everyone was relieved after enduring the constant pressure and exhausting attacks. Thousands of great beings then gathered in the outer area of Universe Boat to await the collision. They worried whether Universe Boat, despite being tens of millions of light-years in size, could stop such a massive and fast object. If it merely slowed the object slightly, it would still remain terrifyingly dangerous. Luo Feng observed Universe Boat, noting that although it was badly damaged, it still absorbed endless chaos air and even consumed damaged miniature universes. Flames, wind whirlpools, and electric snakes surrounded it, showing that important parts of the machine-type valuable were still functioning. He believed its stability might allow it to resist the impact. After years of waiting, the great beings sensed the incoming vibration waves of the approaching object. They hid far away inside Palace True Treasures and Supreme True Treasures to avoid the destructive shock waves. Eventually, invisible vibration waves spread through time and space, followed by devastating shock waves that tore apart endless chaos air. All the great beings reversed time to observe the scene. The giant human-shaped object collided directly with Universe Boat. Fragments surrounding the ancient spaceship were blasted away, and its surrounding flames, electric snakes, and light were annihilated. The upper half of the human-shaped object slammed head first into Universe Boat. At the moment of impact, the surrounding space and time were crushed, producing terrifying shock waves and vibration waves. The collision zone became so destructive that even Universe Supreme Masters and Supreme True Treasures would have been annihilated there. The shock waves spread outward across millions of light years. By the time they reached the distant great beings hiding hundreds of millions of light years away, the Palace True Treasures protected them from harm. Though all the Palace True Treasures, including Supreme True Treasures, were still blasted away by the impact.